Thanks everyone for joining our graveyard post-lunch session. Hope you like the clickbait, hundreds and thousands, but it's actually real. So we've got the living proof here, and I'm excited to have Dan McIntire, who flew in all the way from Frisco Lakes, 20 minutes away. Dan, thanks for making some time for us. I know you actually on your way out tonight yourself. We're here to chat about how can we really ramp up found revenue and how golf course is using tech to optimize pace and maximize yield. How are these two even related, right? So Dan, why don't you do me a favor and do a quick introduction on your journey in golf, tell us about Frisco Lakes, and also where you were previously.
Yeah, sure. My name is Dan McIntire. I'm the general manager at Frisco Lakes Golf Club. Prior to that, I was the head golf professional at Woodbridge Golf Club in Wiley, Texas. And then prior to that, I was at Sky Creek Ranch Golf Club in Keller. So I've been all around the Metroplex at all three locations. We have been partners with Tag Marshall. I think at Sky Creek Ranch, Bodo, you said we were one of your first 50 accounts, first 50 clubs. So I've actually been working with Tag Marshall for about 8 years now, under the umbrella of Advanced Golf Partners. Tag Marshall is one of the essential, trademarks that we have at all of our golf courses. So, we actually like to make sure that our customers, when they visit our golf courses, that they are recognizing the distinctive brand features that we want to display at all of our clubs, and we're happy that Tag Marshall is one of those. As soon as they get in the golf cart, when they check in with the starter, every customer gets a nice demonstration of Tag Marshall, what it is and how we use it, and how it's going to improve their experience that day.
So we basically put a track on him 8 years ago. We still know where he is. Tell us a little bit more about Advanced Golf, because some of the people in the room will be familiar with the movers and shakers behind the scenes.
Yeah, Advanced Golf. We're a management company, if you want to call it that. We have 5 courses in the Dallas market. The ones that I mentioned, plus Westridge and also Bridlewood. I worked at 3 of the 5 here in Dallas, and then we're in the southeastern region of the United States, Atlanta. We have a market in Florida, and then we just acquired 3 more courses in St. Louis, and Tag Marshall is a staple at all of our golf courses all over the country. So for some of you multi-club owners, Larry Galloway, he's the founding partner of Advanced Golf Partners. One of his priorities is making sure that we are caring for the customer's time. And that starts from the moment that they step foot on our property. We invest heavily in all of the other key factors and considerations for the daily fee golfer. For our clubs, we all operate on 8-minute intervals. We like to do a lot of golf, and we like to deliver on pace and experience. So I think most clubs typically will average around 10 to 11 minutes. But in this presentation today, we're going to show you, why all of our clubs are pretty successful at running those 8-minute intervals, and how it helps our revenue.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So with Tag Marshall, we've built a solution after 10 years that we've tracked almost 100 million rounds of golf. So there's a lot of data that we ingest. You heard about data and AI in previous presentations. We're one of that, that type of systems. And we're in play all the way from Pebble Beach, PJ West, all the way to the Orcas at St. Andrews and Portrush. So really the breadth of golf. This time next year, Touchwood will be on 1,000 properties, and we have even more data to learn from, right? So, we've just a few days ago launched our annual awards, where we're benchmarking all of our partners based on their performance in terms of how do they provide the best possible on-course service to their golfers. And I'm especially delighted to have Dan here because 4 of the top 10, and that includes the Orcas at St. Andrews and Bandon Dunes, some amazing setups. 4 of the top 10 are advanced golf courses where you would pay $60, right? So how are they doing it, right? And they don't have a staffing contingent of 200 people like Bandon Dunes. where you would expect excellence. How are you doing? How many people do you guys have at Frisco? Please don't say 200. Okay.
How many golf operations staff?
Yeah.
At a time, maybe 6 or 7. That includes our starters and marshals that are doing part of the job of enforcing the pace of play, but it really is it's a team effort from our head golf professional to our assistant professionals to our outside service, and then our marshal on duty, which we've actually coined his title, the tag marshal. He's a full-time marshal. This is his career after his career, but he is we invest heavily in the training of our marshals and our starters, and making sure that they have a high level of competency when they're talking about the technology, because they're having interactions so frequently with the customers. So it's very important that we are spending enough time so that they're communicating and using the language that we want them to, because they're making more interactions with the golfers than I am as the GM or even my head golf pro. So it's definitely important that you have the right people in those positions, and we're definitely able to save on labor costs. Only having one marshal, but we have in our pro shop we have a TV with our tag marshal displayed on it too. So as soon as they walk in, they know we're on top of it.
Yeah, we're gonna show you the ins and outs. Let's look at this picture here quickly. Intervals. Obviously, that's a decision that you've made at your course alongside goal time, right? We want to play this course in whatever the 410, 420, 430. Intervals, finding yourself somewhere between 7 minutes on the aggressive side, all the way to 15 minutes on the very luxurious side. Right? How do you make that decision? Right? So why should we care really? So if you're looking at our available inventory on any sort of summer day with reasonable daylight hours, you might run on a 49 available tee times at your 11-minute intervals. That's your decision. If we change that to 8, well, there's a significant difference, right? Well, why should we care? Because we live in an amazing world right now with this high demand and supply is constricted, and you are at the forefront of this, right? So with Tag Marshal, we've created what we call a golf course optimization platform. Yeah, there's a GPS, that's part of it, but it's a system that will help you get the maximum yield out of your operation. And we think about what happens on the golf course, and you must excuse my German roots here, it's a factory. Right? We are creating experiences, and we are creating 49 times 3 or 4 players worth of experiences every day. We want those to stick. High quality, no downtime out on the golf course in our factory, right? No poor outputs, right? Optimize. So I've got optimization on DNA, right? As a German, that's what we need to do. So 10 years ago, when I was approached by a very frustrated golfer, said, we need to make this game faster, otherwise I'm quitting. I was like, okay, here we go. So 10 years later, 700 partners, and almost 100 million hours of golf later, we feel like we know what we're doing. So why should you care? Tell you why you should care, because on an 11-minute intervals, it's just a very simplified assumption set. It's doing 3.5 players average take up, 280 business days a year, $90 average spend. That gives you a 14 million business, a $4 million business. On this other higher throughput, the same assumptions, it's a $6 million business. That's why you need to care about it. Right? A huge difference. And it isn't just the way it is. And you've learned this in some of the other sessions where we're now talking about more personalized ways of marketing, using automation. Things aren't the way they used to be, right? And this is the same. So what we're here to promote and what we're here to show you is that there's different ways to get to this outcome. And we happen to have Dan here where they're already at that point. And their businesses are successful, and the blueprint that they're running as an organization is successful. Very holistic, but this is a key aspect to it. This is not Frisco Lakes. This is Bodo, another one of our partners. And I put this up here because they did an amazing renovation. They've got 36 holes. And in one season, they had to put all of their golf onto one golf course because the other golf course was being renovated. Guess what? They dived into this program and they made that golf course run faster with more players, 30% more players. than it's ever run before. So it's possible. So why should we care about pace? Let's take a step back. Here's your frustrated guy on the golf course trying to make sense of gaps between groups, right? And the traditional way of managing this is, yeah, I need to go and shout at some people, tell them to get on with it because they're slow, right? I hate that. Please don't do that to players, right? In fact, the research here by the USGA says there's 1,000 touch points in the player experience, including your online interactions, driving through the gate, being greeted in the clubhouse, the starter, anything. All of these are touch points, and some of them are deal makers and delighters, and some of them are deal breakers, right? Some of them run neutral. Doesn't matter if you do it good or bad. And they found that out of 1,000 things, the worst thing to do to a player is that corrective pace of play actions. So that means Mr. Grumpy Pants here says, hey guys, you're slow, get on with it, right? Players will combust. They can't cope with it and they will fight you. Because slow is not, it doesn't gel. Even, he might be right, but the players will defend themselves, right? They don't want to be caught up. The big problem is other people's speed. So players are equally as frustrated if they're having to wait. T-box wait time, wait 10 minutes, wait again, right? That is a killer for their experience. And on the flip side, in the delighter space, who would have thought? It's not conditioning where you're spending half your budget. The simple thing that stands out the most is positive ranger etiquette. If this guy has got a good etiquette about him and he's maybe got a data-backed conversation that you can run, that is a delight factor for golfers. They love you all of a sudden, right? So what Dan has done is they put a twist on it. They're not calling this role a marshal any longer. Many call it, it's just a plain assistant, right? We have to assist, course ambassador. They're so familiar with it, they just call it tag marshal. There we go, right? Nobody's actually done this before, right? Normally it's course ambassador, player assistant. And the other thing that's very important is providing communication and information about pace of play. And again, put yourself in the player's perspective. Every player thinks they're quick, right? Everyone else is slow, they're quick. So if there's communication and information, materials about it, that they feel safe that you've told everyone else to not do this to them, get in their way, right? Dan, from your point of view, you mentioned a TV in the clubhouse with a screen up that gives you that sort of runtime and currently live pace. How did you communicate around pace of play? You mentioned a word that I know is big in your guys' playbook vocabulary called competence. Tell us a little bit about the communication around pace.
Sure. We're a daily fee golf course. We do about 70,000 rounds a year, as I mentioned. Some days we do over 300. I've seen days where we do like 360 rounds of golf in the middle of the summer from wire to wire. We're doing golf all day long for 8-minute intervals, which is amazing. It means we have a lot of demand, and in those summer days, there's a lot of supply. And with all these things that you focus so much on doing well, you invest in fertilizer for your turf, and you invest in your restaurant. That means you're going to be busy, okay? And one thing that we focus on is like, okay, how do we be really good at being busy? Because what happens if you get really busy and you're not great? Well, people aren't going to come back. So we want our customers to know that we're actually good at being busy, okay? That we can handle the volume. This is a huge part of that, and the communication to the customer is huge. When they leave the golf course, we want them to know that it was not an accident, that they played around a golf and under their target time. Maybe they're driving away from the clubhouse after a 4-hour round of golf. They feel great. We don't want them to think that that was an accident. We need them to know, and we need to communicate to them that it was because we have the technology, we have the staff in place. We did all of the things to facilitate a 4-hour round of golf. It wasn't just you showed up on the golf course on a random Saturday and everything was perfect, and the flow just there was maybe just all scratch golfers on the course that day. We all know that's never the case. We need them to know when they leave, when we delivered on our promise that we were going to give them a less than 4.5-hour round. We need them to know that it was because we invested in the technology and the people to do that. So we're telling them in the pro shop, we're telling them on the first tee, and then throughout their round, we're having interactions. It's show and tell. We're showing them the tablets. We have, data capable iPads for our player assistants where they're showing them, sir, here's where you are in relation to our, what we manage our pace to today. We're presenting facts to them. We're not making accusations. There's no emotional investment. And usually those interactions go very well. And as long as your people can communicate that effectively, I think the golfer receives that very well. And they're more likely to come back.
I think you're making two good points here. The first one is how do you present your message? So we don't do this, right? Don't go, hey guys, you're struggling on with it. So a simple way to present it is, hey, our system says you're a bit out of position, right? Now I can compute this as a player. I'm half a hole out of position. Help me catch up. Help me get back in position. Easy. I can do that, right? You haven't insulted me. You just told me, yeah, I'm currently out of position. I can fix that easy. So the compliance part then comes in. Yeah, this guy's friendly to me, and he's not shouting at me. I'm going to play along. I can catch up. I'm not going to be the stroker. And the other one is rename this role, right? Because players will always resist a marshal. A marshal, even the role marshal ranger, is military. Right? It's rude. It's and we used to employ guys like that, right? Because we didn't have other ways to do it. So flip the script on that. Call it player assistant, course ambassador, what have you. And very often we're finding with the tool in place, well, you can trim back on your hours. You don't need a person out there. The system does the work for you. And then your assistant will go out as needed when they get an alert or they ping a message right onto the screen. So this is the Google Maps or Waze version of managing the golf course. Dan, two questions. Firstly, tell us what these colors are. I know it's second nature to you. And secondly, who have you got dialed in at the course?
Okay, so green means good. Green means that they're on time and they're in position. The magenta, card number 33. So these are all the assets on the course. Card number 33 is what we would recognize as a problem group or a group that's out of position, which means they're behind pace. And then they are also out of position. Out of position meaning that they fell out of range from the group in front of them. Usually you'll work with your support team to kind of define those areas on the course. Tee, green, tee, fairway, and green. Those are your areas. So once that threshold is met, where now there are 3 areas behind the group in front of them, the pro shop gets notified. That is what we define as a problem group, and those are the groups that we need to eliminate. Those are the problems. We're sending our marshal.
Wording.
Yeah, I know, right? But really, that's what affects your pace of play at the end of the day, or those groups. And we use the term gap resolution a lot at Frisco Links. We try to resolve gaps all day long. We use the reporting system that Tag Marshall has curated with us, and that's how we're managed as a club. At the corporate level at Advanced Golf, they're receiving a report at the end of each day. The report consists of all of the cards on the course that fell out of position in a given day. Okay, now our job is to respond and to intervene with those groups as quickly and efficiently as possible. In that report, it tells you the time to interventions. That's like your dispatch time, how long it takes, the ambulance to get to the crime scene. So we want to be quick. We want to be notified. We want to make it there fast. And then once we've made that intervention, obviously we want to know how effective it is. So there's a time to resolution. How long did it take that group to get back in position? And that's actually what's more important, because you can get out there, you can talk to that group in less than 5 minutes, but if they never get back in position in the rest of the round, well, it wasn't effective. We need to see that the people that are communicating, with the problem groups on the course are saying the right things, doing the right things to move them along, so that it's not impacting the rest of the day.
I just want to add two more colors here. So orange in our word means these guys are delayed, so they're not where they're supposed to be, but it's not their fault. And then red is, yeah, this is a group that's out of position, but they don't have an impact currently. So our system calculates this all the time versus the grid, versus the relative distance to other groups, and also what is the impact of a group falling out of position. You can see the first 2 holes, these guys went fine, and then they started to deteriorate. So this is a trend, right? We want to understand trends. And the biggest problem our algorithms determine is how many groups behind this group are not being impacted. And our data shows that it's around about 80% of playing groups that cause all of your problems, right? That's it. So all we have to do, that's what Dan's team is so good at, is find the 8%, get on top of them, so that everyone else can have a fantastic time. We also know who they are, right? Because we've got 20 or so T-sheet integrations. So it's very easy to make this personalized interaction and be friendly about it. And you're never going to operate with your pants down or hair on fire, because you know exactly where you need to be. You're not out there chasing shadows. And you can very easily show the players, show and tell, like Dan said, there's an iPad, that's what it says. We're currently 8 minutes out of position. Help us get back in position. So just taking a step back from a system point of view, so the data side and then real time, everything on the map, all of your mowers, your food and beverage, everything, we want to have it on here so that you know. And your superintendent also dials in geofences, all that good stuff. Is the live management side, and then there's the back-end data that for us is where the real value lies. You can never know enough about your business, right? And you're all over your financial data. Well, this is what generates the results. Be all over that data, right? So then we've got trackers that can track walkers. You were Bandit Dunes recently, right? Yeah. So yeah, they've run this religiously, and a fantastic operation. All the 6 of their courses, not a single day do they not know where everybody is on the course. Michael Williams, you love that. You got lost on Bandit Dunes. Tell us the story quickly.
Well, this was the day I was on Old McDonald, and I was on the back nine.
Playing as a single.
As a single, yes, as a single by myself. And wasn't really sure where I was going. They don't mark the holes very, very clearly there, or didn't at that time. So as I was going, and I was sort of walking, thinking I was in the right direction, I see a cart sort of closing up to me, and comes along and says, "Hey, look, are you comfortable where you are?" The guy, just want to make sure I'm on the right hole. Yeah, you're on the right hole. You put this, you put this. Give me the direction for the next 3 holes, and then front goes off. And I was thinking, number one, thank you. Number two, how the heck did you know I was out here? Because it's just me. It's just me, literally. There's nobody else between 2 or 3 holes in me. And I remembered that she had put, that this was very early on. This was like 7 years ago. And she had the tag market tag was on the back. So she knew where to come, that I was sort of walking slowly. Probably didn't know where I was going. Came out, gave me directions, went back home. I'm still great.
There you go. You could still be there. Yeah, so funny enough, later we're going to PGA, and the PGA West course is using the tag marshal range tag. So we know that all caddies have got rangefinder. Well, we just put a tracker in, right? So not just 2 things for them, and we know where that group is. Then we built hidden away tracker. Not everyone runs a screen. We understand. You can put card stop with that, and then we've got an 8-inch and a 10-inch. But all of these system front ends do is deliver data for our live management and for our back of house. So you mentioned some of those critical data points, and I want to actually skip ahead so we can show that to you. So this is what the ownership at Advanced Golf, this is a snippet, this is what they look at on a daily basis, right? How many groups have the courses tracked in the month of September? How are we for up or down in terms of volume? What's our round time? You can see that 4-1, 4-4, this is all good stuff. This is average for the whole month, right? Are we up or down? Are we getting better or worse? What percentage on pace? 96%, 91%, 9% on pace. That is good stuff from a net promoter score, customer feedback point of view. That's baked in success. Dashboard views. That means how many times does the team look at the tag marshal system? These guys are overachievers, basically 100 times a day, like all the time. I want to see 4 digits here. Marshall notes, that is your on-course interactions. And how many problem groups did we catch them? I mean, how many did we recover? So that is your 8% problems. Did we recover them? 87% recovery is amazing. That's why Frisco can run with 350 golfers out there without accident. Right? And this is $1 million opportunity, right? $500,000 opportunity. Right? Is it going to take $1 million to get that additional revenue? No. It takes a system and a bit of dedication and some process discipline. So in the system world, yeah, so there's the backend data, and then these little yellow numbers at the top, that is your interactions. So you can either shoot a message through on the screen, or you can go out and chat and then log it into action. And then every single group has a history, like every single round that got played. We know where the geofences were breached. Sometimes 2 things happen. You get a card coming back in, it's damaged. Wasn't me, right? So now you know, okay, you were here at this time of day, and we know that this is where this sort of stuff happens. Do you want to reassess your statement? And the other one is 2 days later, a week later, hey, this was a 5-hour round. I hated it, I want my money back, right? Otherwise, I want star rating in Google. Well, how is this useful to you guys when it comes to those sort of interactions?
We've actually responded to Google reviews, offline to individuals where we actually went back and we fact checked the interactions. That just like you said, people will make outlandish claims. People exaggerate about how long it really took them to play around a golf, and they'll say it took 6 hours. It may have taken like 4 hours and 50 minutes, but 6 just sounds better to them when they're complaining. So anyway, we fact check those things with Tag Marshall. We'll go back. We'll pull up the tape. We'll pull the receipts, and usually we'll present those to them. And it's a good learning opportunity for us. Sometimes it gets the reviews scrubbed off Google if it's factual enough. But yeah, certainly those insights are great. It's good. It helps me when I'm coaching, my player assistants and going back and saying, okay, cool. Here's where our problem groups fell out of position yesterday, and clearly we have a trend here. It's maybe right around hole number 10, right after they get done getting refreshments from the halfway house. That's a big problem area. Okay, and then as it continues, you'll start to see cycles. You'll see patterns. You'll see areas on the golf course. Maybe you have a blind tee shot. Maybe you have a short par 4 where people are going for the green every time. It's nice to see those insights, and then Tag Marshall does a great job. Their support team they're great in identifying those areas of your course by looking at those patterns, and then they can recommend solutions to those on a custom level. But yeah, that's my experience.
So on the left at the bottom, you see the hole by hole runtime, right? And then we literally throw down into T-box wait times because we know that is a pain point. So we can then decide or Dan can decide with the superintendent, well, how do we fix this hole, right? Do we do an easier pin setup, or do we make it a bit shorter? Do we make it a bit longer? And then we run data through it and we look for incremental improvements. So you can think of this as an incremental improvement machine, and much like you're all over your marketing financial data, you can never know enough about how things work on your golf course. And then you get really good at it over time, right? So yeah, I want to give a shout out to another one of our partners, Brooks. West is actually here, and he runs Franklin Bridge. And these guys have taken that messaging to another level. And what I really loved about their messaging when it comes to face-to-face is, please keep doing what you can to get closer to pace. The golf course, the country, and the galaxy thank you, right? So they have humorous twists on it. Players love that. It pops up on their screen. It's like, this is amazing. This is a good time, not, hey, you're slow, get on with it, right? And they're getting so smart about it in terms of the opportunities for additional visits. How do we make our golfers happy in terms of provide the best possible experience with a lot of quality control of the variables? And then how do we maximize our revenue potential, right? And this is where the T-sheet capacity comes in. So remember we showed you this, and this might seem like a nightmare to you. Like if you want to go from this to that, that's open heart surgery, patient dies. Okay, can't do that. Okay. But we can show you ways to get there. So understanding the flow of the course, the timings, the whole battle run times, really dialing into that. Very quickly, you can start segmenting out your day. And that second example shows you, hey, we can actually start our day, and ideally we want to market this to players who want to play quicker at 9-minute intervals. Now that gives us 14 tee times. Then we relax things to 11 minutes, and then we go back to late in the day, 9 minutes, right? So it's not a one-size-fits-all any longer because we've got controls. Then you take it a step further after a period, and now we're creating meaningful incremental additional revenue. Right? This is real. This couple of $100,000 right here, and that little number, right? Is it worth doing that? Putting with effort behind? Absolutely. It's a business game changer. And then eventually you get to where these guys are at. This is just normal now. Can we process 350 golfers out there without accidents? Yes, they do it every day. Possible. So this is another course in Texas where we looked at that flow pattern, right? You can see that median run time, early morning, quite quick. Then you go to that painful 5 hours 13. So this was their baseline when we first started measuring data. Then your lunchtime things speed up, and after lunch you've got another bump up, right? So that's every course looks a bit different, but obviously there's patterns. So then what we do is we understand, okay, this is what we don't want. How do we bring this back? So that red line where you traditionally may have a standard goal time, we want to play this course to 420, which is often thumbs up or we get it because we've stopwatched a few rounds, right? But this is based on a couple of hundred rounds. We really get a cross section of how your different days run, and then we look at what is an appropriate goal time to actually assign here. And we're starting our day quicker the first few times, ratchet it up, then we go on that slow section, then we speed things up again, we get controls, we dial the system into that. This is what you measured against. Guess who does it? Pebble Beach, right? Pebble Beach will tell you, you have booked an 8 o'clock tee time with us for $1,000, right? Our expectation for your pace of play is X. If you're booking the 11 a.m. tee time, our expectation is Y. It's different, right? And we appreciate if you work with us on this. Pebble Beach, off the record, is a design accident when it comes to pace of play. It's impossible. And they put so much effort into it, it's an impossible task. Every other golf course we work with, they're winning. Pebble Beach, almost, okay? But they're very good at it. And they put a lot of effort in it for the same reasons. Commercially essential for them, and they intend to return, as in we don't want grumpy people saying it took us 6 hours. They intend to return, they want to be high. And the intent to return is 97%, which is huge, right? So, okay, so we implement this, live management, the pace gets measured in line with that. This is what it looks like in our system. Very easy to set up goal times, variable goal times, and then the intervals alongside that. Here's the result. We're bringing that 512 down to 430, right? So this is 200 people who don't have a half an hour nightmare out, extra wait time on the golf course. So that's immediate benefit. So we saved hundreds of hours basically, and we bring down our average time. And average time coming down means we can add more capacity, right? So this is proof in the pudding, another busy golf course. And this sort of stuff really doesn't need to happen, right? If you're proactive about it. Dynamic pricing. So spread show of hands, who doesn't do dynamic pricing? You don't. Why not? Okay. You will soon, I hope. Everyone else does, okay? And for good reason, right? But dynamic pricing only works if you deliver on experience, right? Because if you're standard, what is your guys' standard week rate?
$65, which does include lunch and a draft beer.
Wow, amazing. When can I come? What's your Saturday 8 a.m.?
It'd be $115.
Do you also get a beer
You do.
that early?
Yeah. You can redeem it except after 12 months.
Price round.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is almost double, right, in terms of range. So how do I think about this? Well, if I play this round and it's a 5-hour round, I have to wait, I'm going to be twice as aggrieved, right? Because I paid double for this round. So yeah, here's the key. You have to. It dynamic pricing works super well. You should all do it, but you have to deliver on the experience, right? You need to get the quality control going. This is amazing insight. We're all so blessed that for the first time in ever, the biggest cohort of players in golf is the youngest, 18 to 34, right? What does that mean? Golf is younger than it's been for a long time, since Tiger Mania. But also, these guys have got different requirements from us as operators. And 5-10 years from now, they push across, right? And we get new young players coming from top golf and so on. Now, what do they all have in common? 23% of under 40s are willing to pay 25% more for a faster round of golf, right? How quick is my round? Is there any wait time? Is a huge item in their decision making one course or another, or play golf or not. 30% are willing to pay 20% more. So think about this in terms of your dynamic pricing strategy. Can we dedicate tee times, not just the first hour that everyone wants, but the first 5 or 8 times of the day? Can we make those fast playing golf rounds? 3 hours 30, because the data says we can do it. And then we charge more for it, right? Because there are players that want that. Why? Because they have kids. And also, maybe this portion of the market, they're impatient, right? Instant gratification. I want to binge an entire Netflix series when it comes out, not wait like we used to, right? The DoorDash needs to be in 10 minutes. If my Uber takes 12 minutes, I get so frustrated, right? They don't have patience. So, and obviously time starved. And Dan, you mentioned, you want to be respectful of their time. And yeah, very often it boils down to what is the sentiment then post round in terms of online. Like if things work well, fantastic. If they don't work well, then that hurts us, right? And even Pinehurst, where they really know what they're doing. I hope that you've had the pleasure of playing Pinehurst. You will never forget it, and I hope if you haven't, that you want to play it. But in implementing the solution, they got the Net Promoter Score up by 20 points. So a Net Promoter Score, you remember, is when the airline or the hotel asks you how likely are you to recommend this service hotel golf course out of 10, 0 to 10. 0 meaning worst thing ever, I will not come back here. 10 is it made my day, I will come back and tell everyone about it. So this is your business indicator. Are we successful or not? This is massive in terms of gains, right? And they know what they're doing to begin with, right? So that little thing has made a big difference to them. And here's somebody else that you've never heard of. Chip Hurler High is a GM at Fieldstone in Michigan, Middlesbrough Golf Course, and they've upped their revenue by 85%. Similar story, dialing into dynamic pricing, making sure that there's never any 5-hour rounds. They've got the golfers from the neighboring courses coming to them to complain, right? I said, how do you guys do it? Your car park is full. You give us 4-hour, 10 rounds every weekend. How do you do it? Because I can't get to set the other course. And yes, take my money on that high-priced ATM dynamically priced time. So here's some of what Dan used to do at Woodbridge in terms of execution on pace. But let's take a step back. How do you guys think about sort of the different age groups and types of players? I know that Frisco Lakes is a bit set when it comes to there's a community, but maybe taking a step back from an advanced golf point of view, what programs do you have in play? How do you get people to come back again and again?
Yeah, sure. Frisco Lakes, we are inside of a retirement community. It's a Del Webb residency, and they satisfy our tee sheet Monday through Thursday for the most part, where Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we are overwhelmed with golfers of all ages, mostly younger golfers. We are very cognizant of the fact that the residents in the community, it's a 55 and up community. Fortunately, most of those golfers will not still be playing golf in the next 20, 30, 40 years. So we're definitely investing in resources, technology, entertainment that is going to satisfy the wants and needs of the younger generation, my generation, generation that has, a wife, a kid, multiple kids, a mortgage, student loans. So being a daily fee facility where we offer a $99 monthly membership that is certainly within my price range and many of my peers, it's great. It satisfies, I think, a great portion of the market, and offering a quality experience. We have TrackMan technology on our driving range. We have a putting course. We have lights on the range, lights on the putting green. So we definitely, over-index on the entertainment value, for the younger middle income, family, where they can come, they can enjoy a night at the driving range with their kid, go have a pizza and some ice cream in the restaurant. Those are definitely all the boxes that we want to check at Frisco Lakes and the other advanced golf courses too.
Yeah, so I was talking about a playbook. It's not just any ice cream, right? It's the best ice cream.
It is the best. Yes, we source the best ice cream from all over the United States. Ginny's, Graders, Laganas. If it's like ranked in the top 5, on Google, we sell it unashamedly at our clubs.
Yeah, so the playbook works, and obviously you're not the only ones. We also work with Trune and some other MCOs that are really starting to dial into this, because it makes good business sense, and they really see the responsibility that they have towards their players, right? And one of the big things that we want to talk about is retention, because we're in a high demand time, but we have to play our cards right so that we can keep it that way, right? And not get overconfident now in the short term. So at another conference, don't look here, Eric. Recently, there was some research shared that the rounds continue to grow, participation continues to grow, but it's slowing down a little bit. Okay, so the big topic is retention, right? And daily fee golf has a big leak problem. 21% of public golfers get lost to the game every year. So think about that. I've even heard stats. Rotherham told us, it's not yet, that he's tracked courses where that's 48% of first-time visitors to the course do not return. That's huge churn, right? So how can we turn that around? How can we create retention? Who of you guys do some sort of post-round sentiment tracking, like emails or something that gets sent out, or tricks? Anyone? Show of hands. You don't. That's amazing, because you want to know, are we successful in our mission, right? To create an experience that builds a community. One of the players in this game that we integrated with was Players First, and they shoot out automated emails after every round, and there's a very high response rate, obviously, in private space, good response rate, daily fee. And then as a manager like Dan would have a dashboard, he would know, here's what people have to say and think about service, about food, about pace of play, about conditioning, all of those key metrics, right? And what they found is it's not rocket science to get this right, but a few things you need to do well. If you want to be made to feel welcome, there needs to be good flow of play on the golf course, and they want to meet on course staff. So no, we're not in the business of selling tee times. We're in the business of selling an experience out on the golf course, and people want to be touched out there. But you need to have those interactions. Again, if you're looking at Dan, the customer journey at Frisco Lakes or any of the other courses that you've worked on, when it comes to getting those things done, feeling welcome, good flow on the course, speed on course, what are some of the points that you would raise are critical?
Well, we focus a lot on the greeting. Our outside service is usually in some way, shape, or form the first ones to interact with the customer, whether that's helping them find where the pro shop is. A lot of the times, thanks to PGA Frisco, we have a lot of people from out of town. We get some good spillover traffic from the headquarters, and if it's their first time, we always have somebody in the parking lot driving around helping assist new customers finding the pro shop, finding the restaurant, the bathroom. So we like to make a nice impression there. Once they enter the pro shop, we usually have 2 or 3 guys manning the counter. We want We're also trying to reduce wait time, in the pro shop as they're waiting to check in, which is in alignment with our mission to reduce the time that they're waiting on the golf course as well. Again, from the starter, the player assistant that's the quote tag marshal on the golf course. We're doing our best to make the right interactions when we can, when we need to. Sometimes you don't have to make an interaction with the customer. We want the experience to be about them, not about us. That's kind of important for us too. It's kind of like having a waiter who's coming to refill your drinks, telling jokes every time you're, I'm trying to have dinner here, but it's nice to make sure that the experience is about the customer. And the worst thing that you can do is show your incompetency when you're making accusations about a group that's not the problem. We focus on groups that are the problem. Now, when you're pointing fingers and throwing stones at a group that's been waiting on a group in front of them all day because we don't know how to either read our technology or we don't have the technology to begin with, and we're just driving circles around a course trying to manage pace of play, that looks really bad. That's what's going to show up on your Google reviews, and that's what we try to avoid at all costs. But if we know we have a bad day, the right thing to do is just directly to the customer, tell them we're aware of the problems right now. Okay, we appreciate you being patient with us. What we have done and what I can confirm is that there's no groups in front of you on the golf course that are out of position. Okay, we can show you here on our tablet. There is a connected chain of golfers all the way around the golf course, which means that there's not an individual group on the course that's directly impacting your experience today. Okay, which is usually the assumption by golfers. Golfers think that there's one group of yahoos that are in front of them on the golf course that are, have no business being out there. We want to assure them that that is not the case. And when we provide that information, it's like they can take a sigh of relief. They can be like, "Oh, okay, cool. At least they showed us that. They're doing everything they can. As long as we're trying our hardest to deliver on, that experience for the customer, that's a good day for us."
100%. And I think the flow management and meeting on-course staff actually goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
because they can see you out there looking after them, and there's competency. And just looking at the results, so that firstly, restaurant visits go up, surprise, because it didn't take half an hour longer than we anticipated, and we really loved it, versus not so great. And the net promoter score is day and night. So this really is that return and telling my friends about it, and it was totally worth the money, right? This is your solution. And the one thing that is sink or swim is good flow, bad flow. Bad flow tanks your net promoter score. No matter how, and I know you're going to try to prove me wrong because you have the best ice cream and the best burgers, but no matter how good your burgers and how cold your beer, if your flow was bad, hated the burger, beer was warm. Right? So I know that you guys do this exceptionally well, and sometimes even an iffy experience out there golf gets saved by your kitchen, and good for you. But very often operators don't have that sort of savior. And Matt Baxter from Highness always says the on-course sentiment is the post-run sentiment. That's what I take from. Just looking again at a bit more data here from Players First. So Players First, we mentioned the NGF, the National Golf Foundation earlier. They're obviously the data heroes in golf. I'm surprised that very often they have limited data sets. So they're doing research based on 200 golfers. That's a lot of data. Whereas Players First now have got 1 million golfers feedbacking on NPS. And you can see the net promoter score, there's a clear inflection downwards sometime post-COVID, right? Where everyone was excited and amazing we can get out on the golf course. And all of a sudden things got a bit busy. And that net promoter score is actually not where it needs to be, just industry-wide. Like, we have work to do if we want to retain players and get more players to join. And the group that's hurting the most is that youngest segment. Right? Their net promoter score is generally the lowest, whereas the older crowds, they're very happy with the way things are. And one of the key items, again, the game flowed well and limited wait time. So here's the pain points, right? So we can do this really well. And I can promise you that people coming off the course at Frisco Legs will give them 5 stars. One of the things that Players First also shared with us is that 50% of all new golfers leave within 2 years. So you lose them to the game. You've invested, they've invested, they've got clubs, coaching, all of that stuff. And then they're gone, right? How can we turn that around? How can we turn that into 30% and retain 70%, right? That would be a massive gain. Well, what do they want? They need to feel integrated in the club, have others to play with, right? We need to build community, and they want to develop their game. So knowing that, what are some of the initiatives that you guys drive, including range tech, potentially develop your game, getting that community going?
Yeah, sure. We do offer complimentary instructional clinics. Our base membership program is called Practice, Learn, and Play. So for new golfers, practice, one, you get unlimited access to practice facilities. Learn, we provide instructional clinics as well for our members. Those are complimentary. And then play, you play after 2 p.m. for a card fee and get a free draft beer with that too. I don't know who wouldn't want to stay, involved in the game at that point. But yeah, certainly building relationships with the customers. Getting to know your customers on a personal level, so that they feel like they're involved in the community. It's I can't emphasize how important that is enough.
And so from what I understand, kids are always welcome too, right? What have you got for them?
We do have an instructional program for juniors. There's after school. We partner with a Champions Golf Training. They provide after school instruction for middle school and junior golfers, and then we have a summer camp availability in summer as well for the future of the game.
And the best ice cream.
That's right. Yeah. We give away a lot of free ice cream, and on our putting course, if you make a hole in one, you get free ice cream. We give away a lot of free ice cream.
You don't need insurance for that. Yeah. So just going back to the tech, and how does technology help you personalize your on-course experience? So, these are the guys who were on stage earlier. What you guys on Lightspeed, right?
Yes, for Lightspeed Golf.
So we've got 25% integrations, and we're of the opinion that we want to be integration friendly, have APIs that just aggregate data as much as we can. So. At Dan's course, Lightspeed feeds cheat sheet information straight into our system, and we automatically allocate the cards to the names. Right? So then you know who's who when you go out and have an interaction. And there's something that we add to that first-time player, right? Member or guest. So you can have custom fields that you can set up, and you can say, this is first-time player. This guy's here for the first time. So I'm going to make pay special attention at some point on the course. Somebody from the team is going to make sure that this group is really feeling welcome, right? Or you can obviously, you would know that this is somebody who's played 100 times, right? But it helps, especially if you're a new staff member, to know this is a regular, here's a name, and you deal with them accordingly. So everything carries through in the system. So we have those names attached to the track map, to the live round, and then over time we build profiles too. Right? So we know this is a slow pro, or this is a fast player, or this is a standard player. And then we can have appropriate conversations or allocate appropriate tee times. And then when it comes to marketing and you want to do your 3:30 morning fasting golf rounds that make you more money, you would then know which players to push that information to. Yeah, sorry about that. No problem. Yeah. Thanks. You can say 60 seconds. We got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to close, I want quickly, pace is central to the enjoyment, the top 3 factor always, and no, you don't need $1 million to make this work. Not at all. It's actually a minor investment that can really game change things for you. Players will always be willing to pay more for quality experience. And look at this holistically, right? Best ice cream all the way down to best for and then, think about it. Those additional tee times that we're gaining, it's the same as an airline adding 3 more rows of seats, right? High fixed cost business, airline golf course. That is straight bottom line for you if you can make those happen. And start small, 3 tee times gain, 4 tee times gain, right? And it pays for itself 100 times over. And where Matt Welliver from Lightspeed said that the auxiliary spend is up 56%, right? The non-green fee spend. That's amazing. But get more legs onto your golf course, and then you can have the double benefit. Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Bodo. Appreciate it.
Maybe time for one question before Taylor kicks us out. Have any? If not, come and chat.
Real quick, information, you have a team that if you say if you had to tag them off for 6 months, they go in and help you analyze that T sheet, say, hey, we need to do this 8 minutes here,
Yes,
7 minutes here,
yes.
9 minutes there.
Yeah, we have a customer success team. We will help you dial into that.
Man, you allow walk,
Train you.
do you require walk, take a tag mark so that you can look at the system and see that it's root held up, that it's not the car rider that might be walking in front of you?
So we actually do have it's a mobile device. It looks like a cell phone that Tag Marshall has given us for the specific card. Yeah, it's a personal cards as well. It works for those too, and it tracks them the exact same as the last phone device.